Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daily Connection. First Baptist Church Van Cleve. I'm Andy Mason, one of the Connect Group leaders up here. We'd love to have you join us. We're in Romans 13 today. Romans 13, 1 through 7. Romans 13, 1. Everyone must submit to governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist are instituted by God. So then, the one who resists the authority is opposing God's command, and those who oppose it will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Do you want to be unafraid of authority? Do good, and you will have its approval. For government is God's servant to you for good, but if you do wrong, be afraid, because it does not carry the sword for no reason. For government is God's servant, an avenger that brings wrath on the one who does wrong. Therefore you must submit, not only because of your wrath, but because of your conscience. And for this reason you pay taxes, since the authorities are God's public servants, continually attending to these tasks. Pay your obligations to everyone, taxes to those who owe taxes, tolls to those you owe tolls, and respect to those you owe respect, and honor to those you owe honor. Man, this is some of these verses. If we hadn't read them in a while, are like, well, that's where that comes from. And that's kind of one of these things that's familiar, and it's good for us to go back over. We are supposed to be we are right here in God's word. It says we are to be subject to the governmental authority. God put them in the position they put them in. I mean, it would be all chaos if we didn't follow it. Everybody's supposed to follow the law. The higher powers are established by God. And you know, when it talks about eternal judgment, or when it talks about judgment in here, it's not talking about eternal judgment. It's talking about being judged by laws, and God's delegated the authority, so we're supposed to follow that. The only time we're supposed to deviate from that is when it's contrary to God's word. You know, the purpose of human government is to uphold good and punish the evil. So, and right and wrong is determined by the state, and we know if we're Christians that we follow similar stuff. We follow that, and we go directly by God's word, what it says. The sword it talks about in here is a symbol that represents God's authority to punish those that do wrong. Our motivation to follow the law goes along with us having a Christian testimony. You know, like the preacher says a lot, live sent. Well, part of living sent would be us following the law. People don't need to see us speeding or doing whatever that's against the law. For the sake of conscience that it talks about here, that's kind of goes along with that testimony thing again, because obeying the law is the right thing to do as a Christian. Same thing with paying our taxes, paying our obligations to everyone. You know, everything we just talked about is kind of like being submissive to the government, as long as it don't violate God's word and His direction. And then in doing so, that shows our testimony for being a Christian, which plays into living sent. You know, and that's one thing that we're pushing at this church is discipleship, and planting those seeds forever. You know, and here's one last thought I'll leave you with on this fine Tuesday. Is if you were arrested for being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Man, I sure hope so. Everyone have a great day.